My story starts over a year ago when my life changed rescuing Mona from an animal shelter. It was love at first sight. I'm 64 years old, semi-retired, and teach part-time. So I'm alone a lot. That's where Mona comes in.
We are honored to have director Terry Katz with us today. Terry's film Loving Mona is nominated for Best Feature Documentary and Best Animal-Friendly Film. Welcome, Terry.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
Hi. Everybody is dying to see Mona. Oh, don't disturb her, though. We'll just take her.
No, you know, dogs are they nap all day, you know?
Oh, hi, Mona. What came first, Mona or the idea to make a documentary about dog lovers?
Yeah, Mona came first. I didn't have any intention of making a film when I rescued Mona. Being semi-retired, I had time and I always wanted to get another dog. I had a dog when I was like in my early 20s. Cameras on my phone these days are terrific. So I was taking a lot of pictures, a lot of videos. And I started meeting a lot of people. After about 6 months, I realized that there's a nice story here. I got together a couple of people, colleagues, professionals that could help me with some specific things. And I was able to get some good interviews with people, people that were like-minded and wanted to contribute to the Loving Mona project, you know, helping rescue animals, rescue shelters.
Mona she's so gorgeous in the film. What is it that was so special about her that was so different from other pets that you had previously? Is it her personal story? Is it just the time that she came into your life?
My daughter and I went down to this adopt-a-thon that they had, one of the animal shelters out on Long Island here. They travel around neighborhoods with dogs, and they retrofit buses with cages, and they bring them to neighborhoods for people to rescue. So we went this day. We got there early. Mona was one of the first dogs off the bus. We went over to her. When I touched her, really, I got to say, I really felt the connection. That's kind of why I picked her. My daughter wanted to look for other animals, and I said no. Mona's going to be the one we take home. So that's that reason. Why I never had another animal. I had a dog, my dog Roderick, when I was in my early 20s, and then I went on to have a career in film. And anybody who's ever or knows anybody working in film, you barely have time for your family, let alone for an animal. I semi-retired from working as an editor about 12 years ago, although I still do jobs periodically as a freelancer, but I teach mainly now. I teach at Fashion Institute of Technology in Manhattan, and I do summer programs with kids at junior high school in Ozone Park, Queens. Now I have time. You know, it takes a lot of time and commitment. You know, you can't just buy an animal or rescue an animal and leave it home all day. It's a life-changing experience, and for me, it was a right timing. You know, I can't say it's right for everyone, but I know people my age, you know, in my late 60s now, and people that are aging are losing a lot of loved ones. I touched on that in my film. So Mona introduced me to new people because, you know, a lot of people that I knew and loved are gone now. And having Mona, that responsibility, she's really introduced me to a new world that I wouldn't have been aware of without having a dog. And it's been good.
Even though you've talked about it in your film, what do you think the questions are that people should ask themselves before they adopt a pet or get a rescue pet?
I tell you, you got to have the time. That's key. You know, the question, do you have the time? Do you want to give up your life for that animal? Really? It's the basic question, because that's what you do. So she's like a child to me. I take care of her. I feed her. You know, I take her to the vet, you know, when things go wrong, and I have to take her out and make sure she has the exercise. For me, I would say that to people, do you want to get some good exercise? Be out and about and have that responsibility. But it's a full-time responsibility. As my friend, if you saw the movie, my friend Harry in there, he says, when you have a dog, you want to travel, plan on taking the dog with you, or you do other things. You go to the park, you go other places. Again, I think the most thing is, are you ready to give up your life for this animal? Do you really want to be with that dog all the time, from the moment you get it to the moment that it leaves, you know?
A lot of people, when they are thinking of getting a dog, often people are in a transition themselves emotionally. There's some statistics that show that people are taking rescue pets back that are in relationships. Is that something that you came across when you were making your documentary?
No, a lot of the people I met were older and were not in like transitional type relationship things, like where I think you're talking about maybe two people moving in together and working and they decide to get a pet and only one goes and gets it. It's bad karma to begin with. I think you all have to go together to get a pet. The other thing is when you do get rescue, I would imagine also whether it's a cat or a dog, maybe not puppies or not kittens and they're slightly older. Like with Mona, she was about 11 months old. She had a life before me. I don't know what that life was. And she has things that bother her that I had to adjust for. There are some things that freak her out. I don't know why it does it. Like, for instance, plastic bags blowing in the wind freaks her. Like, she gets weird when that happens and she'll pull and she'll bark at it. You got to be willing to accept that and not, turn around and bring the dog back because the dog, had an issue that developed because it was on the street. That's the whole point. If you're not into that, like I know people they don't want older dogs. I don't want an older dog. I don't want to deal with their issues. It's your choice, but you got to be sure that, like I say, it's going to consume your life. And anybody who tells you different really shouldn't have an animal.
As you were saying earlier, it is a commitment. You have to change your lifestyle. What's your opinion on having pets if you live in an apartment block?
I want to say I'm on the fence, but I'm really not. I live in a garden apartment. All right. Mona is here because she's my emotional support animal. There are a lot of people, aging people, that have lost a lot of people in their lives that brought meaning to their lives. And those of you that have dogs know that the dog brings a lot of meaning to your life. So I think that's good. And a lot of people live in apartments. Some laws are starting to address that. I think they should address it. Of course, you don't want a barker next door to you that's constantly barking. And I know people have beagles. And I was going to buy a beagle. They howl, they bark, The key to, I think, living in this world, be respectful. And if they're willing to let you get a dog, then get a dog that's not going to disturb people. Mm-hmm. And there are plenty of dogs out there, that you can get that won't disturb people.
What is it that you learned about yourself, Terry, through the making of your documentary, Loving Mona?
That there are people out there willing to support it, to kick in, whether it was money or just a pat on the back. We did a GoFundMe. I think we were able to raise about $7,500. It was great that people stepped up and helped with this. Not everybody you think is a friend, and not everybody you think is an enemy. I found money in places I never would have thought of, people that have contributed in different ways. So I learned to deal with life day to day and deal in the moment. Mona keeps me in the moment. And you have a dog, you know that. You walk in a dog, you're in the moment, It's like stopping and smelling the flowers, constantly. And I think that's good. And maybe that's why I believe dogs make people better, because they force you to live in the moment.
Happy Valentine's Day. You want to give me a kiss?